It's Thursday, October 11. This is the news on PBCJ. I am Simone Absalom. Prime Minister Andrew Holness signed a 25-year concession agreement with Grupo Aeroportuario del Pacifico, GAP, for the privatization of the Norman Manley International Airport, NMIA, at Jamaica House yesterday. Mr. Holness says under the agreement, the state will retain ownership of the airport, but the Prime Minister pointed out that the government is not the expert in the management of airports. Holness argued that allowing entities with the competent skills to take over an asset like the NMIA unlocks opportunities for the airport. He added that the private-public partnership process allows the resources of the country to be paired with the skills and competencies that can best unlock the value of the assets. He said as a result of this divestment, Jamaicans will become beneficiaries of an expanded runway, an infrastructure investment that the government could not undertake on its own without sacrificing important social and economic expenditure. The government says the country should expect an official school nutritional policy late this year or early into 2019. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton made the announcement at the House of Representatives on Tuesday. He was making a presentation in response to a private member motion brought by opposition education spokesman Ronnie Thwaites.
The Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Education, Youth and Communication is working on a school nutrition policy that we expect to be available by the end of this calendar year, hopefully early in the new year, that will ultimately, through government action, guide what is offered in the school system in terms of a more balanced diet and approach to consumption. In other words, the allocation that the ministry gives to provide this in the school feeding program will be used and influenced by a nutrition policy that will guide how meals are prepared and what is prepared. And to my mind, that is going to be a fundamental shift in terms of what is offered now, and as you rightly pointed out, it's a free-for-all in most cases, and what will be offered in the future member. And I think that's a very major step in trying to address the issue of nutrition in the school system.
To make his case, the health minister cited what he termed as troubling statistics as it relates to the health of our nation's children.
Let me give you some of the data. Percentage of students ages 13 to 15 years who are overweight. 2010, boys, 18.1%. 2017, 22.8%. This is over a 7-year period, moving from 18 to 23% effectively. Girls, 25% in 2010. In 2017, 28.5%. Again, a trend increasing. Percentage of students aged 13 to 15 years who are obese. 2010 boys 5.3%, 2017 10.3%. Mr. Speaker, colleagues, that's a 100% increase over a 7-year period in terms of obesity of our age cohort 13 to 15 years. And in the case of girls, 6.7% to 9.9%. If you average that, Mr. Speaker, in terms of obesity levels, you're looking at somewhere in the high 60s, close to 70% over a 7-year period of that age cohort that are becoming obese.
Dr. Tufton says the government has already begun to reform nutrition in schools, and he pointed to the campaign to reduce sugar drinks. In related news, Agriculture Minister Audley Shaw says he'll be advocating cabinet for more local produce to be used in the public sector school feeding program. Minister Shaw says the government is also prepared to use the power of legislation to increase the use of local produce.
In light of the policy commitment of both administrations I'll be going to Cabinet with a submission to increase the domestic content in the school feeding program. As part of the process, I'll initiate consultations with the Minister of Education and the Minister of Health to get a commitment so that this can be considered in the budget for 2019-2020. Following that consultation, we'll go to Cabinet with a submission on the matter. Mr. Speaker, we have to eventually go to legislation if necessary to ensure that we eat what we grow.
Minister Shaw says the government has no choice but to explore measures to improve the amount of local food in the school feeding program.
The way forward will be to target a gradual increase in the local content of the school feeding budget until we find a suitable optimum position. It will be recalled that under the Public Procurement Law of 2015 and regulations now in the process of being promulgated, there is expectation that domestic content will be a consideration in specific government procurement.
$7.1 billion of the total non-debt expenditure of the $16.6 billion added to the 2018-2019 budget in the supplementary estimates will be used to pay off the outstanding arrears owed to the Jamaica Public Service, the JPS, for street lighting. That's according to the Minister of Finance and Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clark. He was speaking last Tuesday in Parliament on the expenditures to be made from the $17.4 billion added to the 2018-2019 budget in the first supplementary estimates for the fiscal year, which were approved by the House of Representatives. The Meteorological Service of Jamaica says a trough across the island is expected to influence weather conditions for the next few days. This afternoon, we can expect scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms across sections of most parishes. And tonight is expected to be partly cloudy. The maximum temperature expected for Kingston and Montego Bay tonight is 31 degrees Celsius. The U.S. dollar on Wednesday, October 10, ended trading at Jamaican $133.55, up by 21 cents. And that's according to the Bank of Jamaica's daily foreign exchange trading summary. The Canadian dollar ended traded at $105.66, up from $103.13, while the British pound ended trading at 176 Jamaican dollars 15 cents, up from 174.41 cents. Motorists should see a decrease at the pumps in the price of gasoline and an increase in the cost of diesel, effective today. And that's according to the latest ex-refinery costs from Petrojam. 87 and 90 octane gasoline will be sold for $141.89 and $144.73 per litre respectively, down by 13 cents each. Automotive diesel will be sold for $146.01 per litre, following an increase of $1.09, while ultra-low sulfur diesel is up by $1.71 and will be sold for $150.53 per litre. Meanwhile, kerosene increased in price by $1.92 and will be sold for $127.25 per litre. Propane liquid petroleum will be sold for $56.98 per litre, down by $1.10. You should know that movements in Petrojam's product prices are reflective of changes in the prices of the relevant petroleum products within the U.S. Gulf Coast region. Marketing companies and retailers will add their respective markup to these prices. In regional news, the Caribbean community, CARICOM, says it stands ready to provide assistance to Haiti, one of its 15 member countries that was hit by a number of earthquakes, resulting in the deaths of 17 people and injury to more than 300 others. Hundreds of homes were destroyed or damaged. According to initial assessments, 7,783 families are in need of urgent humanitarian assistance in the northwest of the country. CARICOM Secretary General Erwin LaRocque, in a message to President Jovenel Moïse, said that CARICOM is, quote, deeply saddened by the loss of life and significant destruction of property, end quote, in the French-speaking country as a result of the 5.9 magnitude earthquake that struck Saturday night. Since the first quake, Haiti has been rocked by several aftershocks. LAVOC said the regional integration grouping was extending condolences to the families who lost their loved ones, as well as wishes for a full and speedy recovery of the injured. In sports, President of the Jamaica Olympic Association, Christopher Samuda, challenged the nation's representatives, among all things, to be good ambassadors for the country at the Youth Olympic Games. Samuda visited the athletes in camp at the Olympic Village yesterday, a day ahead of the start of the track and field, in which Jamaica are ranked as a powerhouse. The JOA president was accompanied by CEO Ryan Foster and fellow lead executives Garth Gale, Gregory Hamilton, and Laurel Smith. Jamaica won 4 medals at the last Youth Olympic Games in 2014 and is being represented by a 12-member team, as previously selected Vashon Vasiani never made the trip. Jamaica and Cuba will meet their final Group B fixture at the HEB Park in Edinburgh, Texas today, 6:30 p.m., same as Jamaica time, where a wide margin of victory for the Reggae Girls would see them progressing, while the Cubans will be playing to salvage pride. Jamaica are currently in third on 3 points with a -1 goal difference behind Costa Rica, who also have 3 points and a +7 goal difference, while Canada head to the standings on 6 points. And that's the news. Thanks so much for once again making it PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom. Pleasant viewing.